I finally have one. So you can probably tell by the length of this box and the name. You can probably guess what this is. And you probably saw the title. You probably know what this is already. I finally have a Gretsch Baritone. So quickly before I unbox this, I just want to quickly say thank you to my parents who got this for my 23rd birthday, which was all the way back in January actually. And another quick thank you to Tim from Fender, who hooked them up with a nice fat discount on this. So that was very, very sick of him to do. So I appreciate that a lot. Thank you, Tim, as well. But yeah, a Gretsch Baritone. It's taken quite a while for it to get here because I've changed addresses a few times. As you can tell, I'm in a much bigger space now. Oh, and I actually received this while I was away on tour in America. So my girlfriend actually had to go pick this up from our old address while we were in the new address, while in the middle of moving, because it got accidentally sent to the old address. But thankfully she was able to get it picked up there, so thank you, Hannah. But anyways, let's stop talking about how I got this and just get straight to unboxing it, because you guys are gonna skip that first bit anyways. I've never done an unboxing on video before, but I wanted to do it because this is quite a special occasion. Now, if I remember this correctly, this should be the one in Bristol Fog, I believe the finish is called. Oh yeah, I think it is. Here we go. That's familiar. This is very, very familiar. I mean, I work on these for a living, so you know I should be very, very familiar with this guitar. There it is. The Gretsch logo. Oh, come on. Get off you. There it is. This is mine now. That's awesome. So, very quickly, the finish that I wanted it in originally, it was the jade gray one, which is kind of like a blue sparkle finish. But they don't make that anymore, and I've been having trouble finding it. So this is the second best thing that I opted for, and I think it looks pretty cool too, if I do say so myself. Now I believe this comes stock from the factory strung A to A. Or not, just some random whatever, not in tune tuning. Let me quickly plug this in and get it in tune. Pretty cool in A standard. I didn't buy this guitar to play this in drop G. I bought this guitar to play it in those stupid drop C sharp, double drop C sharp, double drop E type tuning. So I'm gonna throw this on the bench and get it ready for that tuning. Cool, so let's get this strung up for double drop C sharp, or whatever that tuning might be called. So it's gonna be C sharp, A, E, A, D, F sharp. So I'm gonna be using these gauges, which is pretty much what we use for Loathe, which are 105, which is a bass string, 105, and then a 68 through to 18, because we discard this thin as 14. So yeah, so one thing I will have to do as well is I will need to drill out the stop bar, so that it can actually fit this thick part of the 105. But you'll see what I mean when I do it. So let's do that first. So let's get these old strings off. So this fretboard looks a bit dry, so I'm gonna give that a quick pass of lemon oil as well. There we go. That might be a bit too much. Whoops. It's a brand new bottle, so I had no idea how much to squeeze out. There we go, looking nice and fresh now. Way less dry. Cool, right, so the first thing I need to do is drill out just this the 6-string hole in the stop bar so that this 105 can fit through. I'll quickly demonstrate what I mean. So, as you can see right now, the string fits through fine, but then this bit kind of sticks out, which doesn't really affect the function of tuning it up and it holding in tune. It just kind of is a bit unsightly. So I'm gonna drill this bit out so that this thicker portion of the string can actually fit through the stop bar. This is all stuff I've covered before in my how I set up the Gretsch Baritone for Loathe video. So if you want to get specifics about how I set it up, like measurements and that kind of stuff, then I'll point you to that video right here. I don't really know where on the frame this is, but somewhere here you'll see that video. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do right now. So I'm going to grab my drill. Now let me see what drill bit I'll need. I probably won't need something that big. So this looks about right. Whoop. Nice, there we go. That's the drilled out stop bar. So from here on, it should just be pretty straightforward. So for one thing very quickly, the nut. So I've had situations before where we've gotten a brand new Gretsch Baritone and we didn't have to do anything to the nut to accommodate the string. And then there's been situations where I have had to, so I'm not quite sure what it's gonna be. But depending on what it is, it's an easy fix anyways. And it's looking like I will probably have to will have to enlarge the nut slots, but I'm going to get the strings on first. Yeah, this is not playable. These strings are very, very far from the fretboard. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just set up this guitar. It needs a bit of work for it to be ready in this kind of tuning. And I'm just going to kind of like mess with this guitar, kind of live with it for a bit. I mean, I'm already very familiar with this guitar. I mean, like I said, I work on this guitar pretty much every day on tour. So I know this guitar very well. But I want to give you guys my personal thoughts on this guitar. So I'm going to live with it for a bit first, and then I'm going to come back to this video. So stay tuned for that. So it's just been a bit over a week now, and I've got some thoughts. So it's been quite interesting living with this guitar for the past week and just kind of playing with it and just kind of stepping away from the kind of working relationship that I have with this guitar. It sounds kind of silly and almost like just a bit like exaggerative to be like, you know, to make that distinction between a working relationship and just living with this guitar. But in the case of this guitar, because it's such a different thing, it's, you know, it's not a standard 25.5-inch normal tuned guitar like all my other guitars, whereas this is a baritone, or even one might even call it a bass 6 just because of the tuning range that it's in. It's been quite interesting just kind of living with it and just trying to like make music with it, noodling on it, just kind of stepping away from being a guitar tech on this guitar and just being a guitarist on this guitar. So it's been very interesting just kind of discovering all that side of this guitar. But I just wanted to kind of go over my overall thoughts on this guitar now that I've kind of lived with it for a bit. So first thing I wanted to talk about is the build quality of the guitar. So, like I said, I got a discount on this, but stock this guitar is around £500, I believe. And for £500, like, this is probably, like, I don't know, you can see on the camera, like, on this side camera, this is like an immaculate guitar. Like, the build quality on this is absolutely perfect. The finish is gorgeous. The fret ends are not sharp at all. I'll do some close-ups on it maybe, but like the fret ends, they're not rounded, but they're not poking out the edge of the fretboard, so it's definitely not something that's gonna, you know, make it very uncomfortable to play. So it's pretty much like all you need and nothing more on this guitar. Yeah, the build quality on this is absolutely stunning. And then that kind of leads into just the overall ease of setup on this guitar, which kind of brings it back to me being a guitar tech and just kind of having worked on this guitar night after night on tour. This guitar is very, very easy to set up, and that's partly down to this two-pneumatic bridge. I love two-pneumatic bridges. They're very easy to set up because You don't have to deal with the individual string heights. It's kind of preset for you. It's, if you look closely on the bridge, you'll see that there's a radius to it, which matches the radius of the fretboard. So all the only adjusting points are just the two posts that can angle the bridge, and then things like truss rod. I mean, obviously nowadays the contemporary thing is to have a truss rod adjustment here, but this works perfectly fine as well. This is just more of a convenience thing, and I think on having one here will kind of throw off the whole kind of classy Gretsch aesthetic. And then things like getting the guitar set up for the Loathe tuning, which I'm in, which is like a whole fifth lower than the tuning that the guitar comes shipped with. So right now I'm in C sharp, which is like this. You know? You saw that earlier in the video where I was setting this up, so like things like filing out the nut, and like things like drilling out the stop bar. Those are all very simple things to do, so there's not much that needs to be done to get this guitar to work for that kind of stuff. No issues there. So quickly touching on that tuning, so this is the Loathe tuning, or a variation on it. This is the tuning they use for Gord, which is C sharp, A, E, A, D, F sharp, which is quite interesting. It's been very interesting messing around with this tuning because it's almost familiar but also not. So the familiar part about this tuning is the drop tuning you've got when disregarding this string, which is basically drop A. So you can play all like drop tuning stuff that everyone's familiar with, like so you've got drop A there, which is really fun because all the chord shapes that I've learned in drop tunings, because I mentioned it before in another video, I grew up learning in drop tunings, so like all the chord shapes that I've learned from that, scales and stuff like that, I'm very familiar with. But then the unfamiliarity comes from like having this extra thick low C sharp, which brings me into a bass range. And trying to wrap my head around, you know, writing and noodling with trying to getting this string involved which is quite a mental hurdle. And the other part being just the overall length of this guitar. So the scaling of this guitar is 29.75 inches. So that was one thing that I had to kind of get my head around, is just the overall length of this guitar. So now I kind of want to just talk about the kind of negative aspects of this guitar. I've only really found two, to be honest. I think the novelty of having such a long scale tuned so low helps negate all the kind of negative aspects that I've found about this guitar. The first negative aspect, I really don't like the way the guitar sits on my body. So flipping this around, you can see that the back of this, it's like completely flat. It's a slab body. There's no contouring at all, no tummy cut, no forearm cut or anything. So it does feel very, very sharp on you. This whole thing being essentially a big slab body makes it fairly uncomfortable to sit and play with. And other things that kind of add to that uncomfortability, which just kind of comes with the nature of having such a long neck, is my arm is kind of pushed out quite far back. A lot further back than I'm normally used to. Like for example, if I grab like my Les Paul, my arm is a lot more tucked in. Wow, this feels really weird to play. This feels so short. So like I'm a lot more tucked in, my arm's not stuck out like that. Comparing that to the baritone, my arm is a lot more stuck out, and I kind of get like aches up here when I've been kind of playing with this guitar for a long time. And maybe I just haven't quite found the right seating position. Like I've seen Eric kind of sit with it quite high up and, you know, have the arm come in from the side, and it kind of play it like how, like, you know, how guitarists did back in the 60s and 50s or whatever. Which brings my shoulder a lot further down, makes it a lot more comfortable, but then the neck is like really, really far away. And then the last negative, and to be honest, I don't really know if this is a negative or not. People have talked about the pickups on this guitar and not liking them very much. I still can't figure out if I like them or not. There are aspects about it that I really like, and there are aspects about it that I don't like. So aspects about it that I like, they have a really crisp and delicate high end. I love the way this guitar sounds clean. And that kind of helps with the really low tuning as well, because you get that articulation and that definition from the really, really low strings, which so you can do a lot with just the pickup, with the really delicate cleans I was doing earlier, and like the really low tuned filth, and you won't lose any of that articulation. But then the biggest kind of downside I find of this pickup, I think the low end is very undefined. I'll kind of show you what I mean. While it is delicate up top and articulate in the high end, the bass is kind of... It kind of sounds just like... That's the only way I can really describe it. But I would like to see what I can do to make the pickups sound the way that I want them to, so maybe wind my own pickups or something like that. So stay tuned for that. I might be making my own pickups for this guitar. But anyways, there's only so much I can do just talking about the guitar to let you know what the guitar sounds like. So instead of talking about how it sounds, I'm just gonna show you what this guitar sounds like through a track that I wrote in the past week. So yeah, I'm gonna shut up now and hope you guys enjoy the track. Take care, guys. Bye.